All right, friends, hey, what's happening? What's shaking? What's going on? Well, this is Andy coming to you again from here at Andy's World of Bass. And today I'm going to do a demo video with the much anticipated GRBass AT610 cabinet. This is a carbon graphite construction. It's incredibly lightweight. This is a 1200 watt 610 cabinet that weighs 41 pounds. And before I get into too much, I just want to talk about my relationship with GRBass. Started, I think it was about 5 years ago. I was at the NAMM show, and through my affiliation with the company that makes my strings, Galli Strings in Italy, I was introduced to Gianfranco, and he told me about his company GRBass, and I was just blown away at the innovations and all of the innovating things that he was designing and producing and bringing into the marketplace. So I was like, wow, this is the most innovative company I've ever really seen, with the invention of extremely lightweight bass amplification equipment that really performs well. I came from an era growing up in the 80s and kind of growing up in the ironclad hybrid SM900, realm of like tube pre transformer back end amplifiers, great ones, and like 3/4 plywood Goliath cabinets, etc. And so when the evolution of Neo started coming onto the scene, I was very skeptical, like a lot of people, and it took quite a while. It took about 20 years for it to, I think, to fully evolve into what it is now, which is actually the convenience level matches the performance level. It used to be that they were ultra convenient, but they were wimpy. They blew up, and they couldn't handle the taxing performance demands, and ultimately they just couldn't do the job. But they've come up over the years, and GRBass has basically taken it to another level by incorporating carbon graphite construction, which makes it beyond light. It now has its own class, which is ultralight. So anyhow, the specs of the cab: 1200 watt, 610s, 41 pounds. It has two switches on the back. One is a 3-way switch to control the amount of the high frequency driver, and the other switch controls taking the wiring from 4 ohms to 8 ohms. And that's a nice thing because, for example, with this is the GR1800 head, and it has a 4 ohm minimum load. You could push 2 of these with this amplifier. Having that switch on there is very nice. So if you're just using it by itself, you'd put it in 4 ohms, and then you'd get the full power out of the amp. Now, I have the dual 1400 here. It's just sitting here. But I just wanted to show you that this is basically 2 of these. And this one can push 2 4 ohm cabinets, no problem. And so when I'm using, like on a festival or something like that, when I want to use 2 4 ohm cabinets, I'll use this one. Anyway, the 800 is extremely ballsy, and definitely it has the power and the punch to push easily this cabinet. So let's hear it. Now, there's only so much I can do in a demo that's being made like this to demonstrate a big cabinet that's meant for doing big jobs, okay? So I can't like turn it up and show you how loud it goes, because it'll just start sounding like shit on the video, but so I have to keep it at a moderate volume. But overall, if we want to talk about just the clarity and the musicality, equally with the amount of warmth, there's all kinds of skepticism and questions that are asked, and I'll try to answer them the best I can in this demo. First of all, one of the questions that has come up is, well, being carbon fiber, does it make it sound overly bright? The answer is no, it doesn't. It has a very warm, natural sound. And as you can tell, it has a clear, focused sound. Now, the thing about these cabs that I want to really get across in this video is that if we go back to what I was talking about before, which is like this kind of overall skepticism of Neo technology and can it handle it? Can it do the hard work? I've had the 410 version of this for about 2.5 years now, and I've used it on at least 200 gigs. And I've had nothing but great success and just amazing performance out of the cabinet. And the thing that I think is truly like mind-blowing, like witchcraft, is that it has the speed, the punch, the tightness, the fatness. It has all of those kind of important characteristics that the old school 3/4 plywood cabinets with ceramic magnet drivers in it. It does that while being this light. And that to me is like pure witchcraft, because there's no sacrifice. It used to be that, you know, there was a certain margin of sacrifice, performance sacrifice, to go along with the convenience factor. Meaning it was the cabs were super convenient, but there was a certain point that they got to and the performance lacked in some kind of a way. And typically the places that they would lack would be in the punch, speed, articulation, durability, you know, bulletproofness, and all of that. Well, the 410 that I've had for 2.5 years has delivered in all of those areas. So it's a Neo cab that performs like basically like a 3/4 plywood ceramic magnet cab of yesteryear, the best ones out there. And you know, to me, that's like that right there makes it worth the price of admission. And like I said, I can speak from firsthand experience. This isn't something that they sent me. I've played through it for an hour, and I'm going to give you some kind of you know, personal opinion on it. I'm talking from years of use, extensive use on gigs, many, couple hundred gigs. And anyone that follows my videos knows the way I play. I play hard, right? Some of the time. I mean, I'm a dynamic player. But I'm also very demanding. Meaning I require transient punch throughout the musicality and throughout the dynamic range of my playing at any given time. So, you know, I go from a gentle brush stroke to digging in and throttling it mercilessly. That's the way I play. So I think I'm kind of a good person to give some real, you know, hardcore acid testing to gear, because I don't tiptoe around the tulips with it. I basically beat the snot out of it. I'm not intentionally ever trying to harm it, but I'm listening and paying attention. And if it sounds like it's being overworked or taxed or getting into a place where the rig is struggling against what I'm throwing at it, then of course I ease up. But for, you know, I don't have to with these AT cabs, and that is like totally astonishing for me, because like I said, I come from the old school. I started playing in 1982, and the big ironclad amps and cabs and everything that I was came up on using, they set the bar very high for the type of performance that I need and that complements my style of playing. And Now, that's not to say there isn't other brands out there that are also doing great stuff. However, this is by far lighter, by far, than the next lightest thing. So, like, it's in its own weight class. It's expensive to build. It's expensive to buy. The materials are expensive. The engineering, the development, and the everything that goes into building it, manufacturing it, is expensive. So it's expensive. Now, if we're talking about price, though, it's not that much more expensive than a comparable boutique grade cabinet from the other high-end manufacturers. It's like $400 more probably, but that extra $400 gets you like 60% less weight. So I hope that answers some of the questions. Now, one thing I want to do before we end the video is this is my Daryl Betts Maple Freak 5 that I collaborated on the building and the designing of that instrument. It already existed in its basic form, but we worked together on that specific one, and he built it for me to my really picky and specific specifications. But that one has EMGs in it. What I want to do is I'm going to play also. This is one of my favorite P basses. This is a custom Bluesman vintage instrument that was made, a DeVille, that was made for me by the guys down in Nashville at Bluesman Vintage. It's one of my favorite P basses, if not my favorite. So I think it's important to show you what it sounds like with a straight up passive P bass. I dig in even more ferociously than I do on one with like EMGs or active electronics, because there's so much more dynamic range in a passive bass. Now it's lacking a little bit of low end, but that's the other beauty of a passive bass, is you could just add some low end. Sound intentionally. It's meant to be a little bit raunchier. That's the glory of a P bass, because when it's exposed like this and completely, naked and not within the framework of a mix, the raunchiness is magnified. But when you're in the fabric of a mix, the raunchiness is pure gold. That's what makes P basses, stand out in every mix, especially when you dig in really hard on them. So anyway, there you have it. I hope that this video is helpful. I hope that it answered some of the most important questions. And now I will say finally that because it's lightweight, it requires that you use common sense, and you definitely want to, I don't have it right here. You definitely want to get the cover, because there's a thick padded slide over cover that can be, you know, that are made to accompany all of the cabs. And you definitely want to have the cover, and you just want to use common sense when you're transporting it around. You know, it's not the kind of cab that you can just like bash into doorways and drag down the stairs, and you know, like it's just you have to use common sense and be careful with it, you know, and definitely have a cover for it. You know, I've had my other one, I told you I did a couple hundred gigs with it, and it's not come apart. It's not like structurally failed in any way since you know, since I got it. It's held up structurally perfectly. There was a little problem with the corners breaking early on, but they made bigger, thicker, more heavy duty corners, and that problem has been resolved. So you know, I guess that was the last thing that I wanted to mention, is like, you know, can it handle being used on the, you know, in regular use and using it gigging? And it definitely can, but you just got to be, you know, use common sense when you're transporting it, and definitely get the cover. If you do that, it will serve you well for a long, long time out on the job doing the gigs. So thank you to Gianfranco and Andreas, everybody at GRBass. I just want to say thank you to those guys, and it's been a pleasure working with them all these years, and I look forward to you know, many, many more. Now, the fan just came on. That's what you're hearing. I will be at the NAMM show this year. I'm back in the going to NAMM mood again, and I'll be there. So I'll be hanging around at the GRBass booth, and I hope that if you're out there, you know, you come by and say hi. And there's a lot of other people that are using this GRBass stuff, like Woody Lingo and Ed Friedland, and the list goes on and on and on. Check out what they have to say too, you know. And check out all the other demos, because there's people that make much more high quality, more highly produced audiophile kind of demos than I do. I just don't do it that way. I never have. I try to keep it very basic, very honest, and very unscripted, and just kind of say what's on my mind and give my most honest impressions of the gear that I stand behind. And I definitely stand behind the GRBass, and the AT series cabinets are killer. The convenience matches the performance, and that is where it's at. All right, thanks for watching the video. We'll see you next time. Peace.